Okay, and we are back with more Resident Evil 2. We just put in or three of the four pieces that we need for the chess puzzle. We're going to be joined by another person, a person that's a native of the Resident Evil speedrunning community, Houseless Gamer. He mostly does Resident Evil 3, I guess, is pretty much your main thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've dipped into any of the other games or not really heavily, but... so you have a fairly decent history with this game, particularly with the third one. But what's kind of your experience as far as speedruns with the other games in the series as well?
Speedruns in general, just to give you a general answer on that, I would say just to clarify, what made 3 my favorite out of all of them was because of precisely the dodge mechanic. As to where, in the rest, before 3, like 1 and 2 for an example, when you get like near enemies, they just instantly just go for you, like just literally just grab onto you.
Wow, what a fucking dick. Sorry.
We're like, it's alright. We're like in 3, you can manipulate the AI and get around them much easier.
I opened the door and the spider just immediately spit acid and poisoned me.
Yeah,
Just instantly.
yeah.
God, what a jerk.
Yeah, that's right. Usually you sort of have to like hug the wall, like once you're going through that area.
So in general, I've only been poisoned, I think, one other time in all of these playthroughs. So you have the background kind of in Ari. What actually happens when you get poisoned?
Other than just making him look like, he sort of look like just kind of like got a hit out of nowhere, and his animation really doesn't change all that much. His health will start ticking down, like, I couldn't tell you exactly mathematically what it would be for 2 in particular.
But it tends to be a damage over time effect.
Yeah, it's like 1 tick every, I guess you could say every 5 seconds, or 10.
So...
let me put it like this. If you're at full health, and let's say the nearest blue herb was, let's say, at the garage, you would make it there and still be at, like, I would say, it's still within the high 75% of your health.
I see. So it's a very slow kind of burn on that.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that that's kind of what drew you to the game in number 3 was the dodge mechanic. How do you feel about... I mean, I guess this would be a good thing to ask, is like, how do you feel about the progression of the series, like starting from 1 and moving through to 3 near the end of the PlayStation's life cycle?
I felt it was pretty good. I felt it covered all aspects in general, going from the mansion to the city and spreading out that way.
So you felt like the settings tended to have a good general progression? Felt natural?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that each game after it was kind of a strict upgrade from the others? Or do you think that there were kind of like give and takes?
Yeah, I would say it was more of like a branch off, but in a weird way, telling of different events that occurred around the world, since the whole point of Umbrella was supposed to be like a global company. So I would say it fit the scenario.
So that was an interesting thing to investigate for you, was like seeing all the different angles. Well, I was gonna say all the different angles of what happened in Raccoon City, because like you had Resident Evil 2. Just to give kind of a quick timeline, Resident Evil 1 happens, right? And just in reference to the first trilogy, of course. So Resident Evil 1 happens. Then it's immediately followed by, I guess you would say, the first half of Resident Evil 3. And during Jill's infection, when she's incapacitated and resting, is when the main events of Resident Evil 2 happen. And then Resident Evil 3 picks back up again and finishes off.
Yeah, pretty much.
So do you feel... So you felt that kind of investigating the different things that were happening around the town was really interesting to you?
Yeah, because at the time when 3 came out, it was like the first time we actually get to see the city. in that regard.
See, like, a bigger part of the city, more or less?
Yeah.
Because you did get to explore the city in 2, but in 3, it really did feel like you were branching out a little bit further than that immediate area around the RPD, right?
Right.
How did you feel about the change of scenery in general? Or did you have any real views on it?
The change of scenery was welcomed, but as for following, if you're talking in the sense of following the story, I really don't think it changed the story all that much, other than just giving a different perspective.
All right, so we've kind of talked about kind of the trilogy more as it applies as a whole. But let's kind of take it back a little bit, and I guess we'll talk about one other thing as it applies to the trilogy. How were you introduced to the games, as far as, like, what order did you first play them in?
Oh, that's easy. Yeah, I played it in order from 1 to 3.
Okay. Do you remember kind of when you started playing them? Was it when they came out, or more recently?
Shortly after they came out, because my brother had gotten, I have a brother, and he's much older than me, so he had gotten the first one, and I never played the original first one. I ended up playing the director's cut of the first one.
I see. What was your impression playing that first game?
I would say it definitely got me into playing a lot of more Resident Evil style games. That's what got me into following the series. So
you thought it was a good hook, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. The moment from RE1 that really sticks out to me is that when you open the door from the main lobby to try to go back outside, and the dog peeks in, or like tries to get in, and you see its face in the director's cut.
Right.
Yeah, like that was like the scary moment for me when I was a kid.
And then that's quickly followed up not long after that by your first zombie, and then those Cerberuses jump through the windows.
Windows, yeah.
Yeah. Which I think is a shock for everybody their first time playing it. Even if it is kind of just a cheap jump scare, it is still really effective in that capacity.
It
is. So, you come off of Resident Evil 1. I guess the first thing I say is, what are your general impressions of that game? Do you think it played well? Do you think it presented itself well? Did you have a lot of fun with it?
I would say I had fun with it. I felt the controls for it were a bit, tanky for its time, but...
So you had a rough time kind of getting adjusted to it when you were playing it for the first time? Yeah, I think everybody kind of did. I think as you play the games more and more, as is evidenced by this marathon, the more you play the games, especially the singular games, not just in general, but the games singularly, you get used to them a lot faster than you would think. As long as you're paying attention. Like, I still see people constantly going like, oh, it doesn't make any sense. It actually makes perfect sense. Like, you press forward, you go forward. You turn with left and right. Like, there's nothing really too hard about that. I mean, it might be something that feels different to some people, considering how you normally control characters in a 3D environment these days, but it made perfect sense for the games with their changing camera angles and such.
The biggest complaint I got, or I've heard, is for people that are playing Resident Evil, is that when it changes angles, how you press up to go forward, and then left and right, and then down is back?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they just can't get used to that.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason, like, somehow the visualness throws them off.
Yeah, the change in direction, they feel like they have to hold a different direction, when really they should have just been holding up still.
Up, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the character moves whichever direction he's facing.
So, now I guess I'll say, let's kind of jump forward to Resident Evil 2. So, a couple years pass by, Resident Evil 2 hits the shelves. Do you play it right when it comes out, or just kind of in close proximity to it?
I would say close proximity, but I didn't really sit down and play it until the N64 version came out.
I see. Was there any reason for that, or
Well,
just that's what you had at the time? Was the N64? Or?
No, I had both. I had the PlayStation and the N64, but for the PlayStation, I was more into other types of games, like mostly the RPGs.
So you pick it up for N64, and that's actually a really interesting... Well, I guess here's a good question, too. Did you first play it on N64, or did you first play it on PlayStation?
I first played it on PlayStation, but I never finished it.
I see. Okay, so obviously there's a big thing when you're talking about Resident Evil purists, where they say the cartridge version bears no resemblance to the disc version.
Right, yeah, it really doesn't. But at the same time, though, what really made me fall in love with the N64 version was mainly just because it's all on one cart, one, and two, it's much faster loading.
I see. So the question is then, when you first played it, because it's easy to look at that now, especially when you have a speed gaming background, you know, you get you start to see the differences.
This was before I even heard of like speed gaming.
Right. But seeing that now, like it's easy to see things like this is the worst version of the game, or this is better because of these reasons. Particularly loading, cutscenes. When you first played the game on PlayStation and then went to N64, did you really notice these things? Like there was less loading, the cutscenes were extremely poor quality, any of these things, or was it just, this is just Resident Evil again?
At first glance, to me, it's just Resident Evil. When I arrived at the first cutscene, like the actual, like, you know, the cinematic for it, yeah, I noticed it was like badly compressed, especially with the intro.
So even when, you know, you weren't into speed gaming and stuff, or like video gaming, I don't want to say like analysis, but you know, you look at a Nintendo game versus a Super Nintendo game, there's a clear divide there.
Right.
But a lot of people really didn't care necessarily when they looked at the two. They knew one looked better, but it wasn't something that you couldn't overlook. Did you feel like this was something you could overlook, or was it something that was just a glaring difference that you couldn't avoid?
Oh no, I could easily overlook it. I was just looking just to play the game for the story.
So you did feel like it was still like... So, your opinion, Resident Evil 2 and 64, still a playable game, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's another question then. If you had to recommend it, like, would you say you would rather go for an N6... Like, let's say your only choices were N64 and a PlayStation version. Would you recommend one over the other? For, like, a casual player getting into the game?
I would recommend the N64 version just on loading times alone.
I see.
The difference in time spent, you know, for loading times.
Does it have to do with the idea that maybe the cutscenes are going to look dated regardless, so it really should be more focused on the gameplay? Or...
I mean, okay, if you're talking in the time period of the two consoles...
I'm talking more like now, because, you know, it's...
more like, okay, if you're talking now, then yeah, it really doesn't matter which version you play. In the sense of cutscenes and graphics and things like that.
But you would say that you'd probably pick the N64 just because it plays better? Would you say that, or...?
I would say it plays a little bit better in the sense of if you're going in comparison of controllers.
Okay, that's an interesting way of putting it too. Actually, I hadn't thought about it in that way. All right, so I mean, I kind of like went off on a tangent there because I had never really met somebody who'd said like the main way they experienced this game was through the N64 version. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. That's a different experience. So you end up playing Resident Evil 2. You say you played it first on the PlayStation, but you didn't finish it.
Right.
Was there a particular reason for that? Oh, by the way, just complete shock value burst through the wall. It's actually a really great scene.
It is.
I'm sorry I didn't set it up as well as I could have, but this whole time you're basically just lighting these torches And you haven't really run into enemies for the most part because you've either cleared these enemies out or they're just zombies. All of a sudden, this big-looking motherfucker's like, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because I'm just gonna blast him with my Magnum because I don't give a shit. And I'm fucking Leon Kennedy. And this is why Leon is so damn good for this scenario, is like... Mr. X fucking nothing. Like, he's got nothing on Leon. Leon's weapons are just massively stronger than anything that he can deal with. I forget, does he drop things? Or...
I don't think so.
Oh yeah, he does. And just handgun bullets this time. I don't remember if he drops anything coming up here. So I shoot this guy, and he's down on the ground. Pick up the cog and leave. And he just straight up Kool-Aid manned through that wall. For lack of a better term. Can I do anything here? No, that sucks. So I kind of wanted that red herb. It's alright. Okay, so it didn't... There we go. So yeah, he's like, screw you, man, I'm not dead. But I disagree. And I just kill him again. So, once again, you could leave that room, which is totally... It makes total sense, you know, you're just like, oh shit, I better run away. But when you run away, it's not over. He chases you again. And that second scare is the thing that gets a lot of people, I think. Because they're like, oh man, I zoned out, right?
Right.
You know, zombies can't open doors. Hunters can't open doors. Like, anything like that. These monsters stay in their areas. Mr. X is the first example of a creature that doesn't give a shit about that. Like, he will literally bust through walls to get to you. And that's a really cool mechanic that... I think they knew what they were onto with it, because you jump from Resident Evil 2 to Resident Evil 3... And all of a sudden, the Nemesis is following you everywhere, just like Mr. X is. Except, Nemesis can follow you anywhere. It's not just at these main plot points. He's literally, seemingly stalking you all around town. Which I thought was a really cool twist on this mechanic. What are your thoughts, kind of, compare and contrasting Mr. X versus the Nemesis in 2 versus 3?
Well, I would say you pretty much hit the nail on the head. Yeah, Mr. X was pretty much I would say, the definite first Nemesis prototype, in the sense of the way he's being used. But overall, I think, obviously, yeah, they did a better job with Nemesis in 3, but for 2, he was done really good as well, in the sense of, like, I remember when I did Claire B, and she goes up to the 3rd floor of the RPD, and he just suddenly, like, appears, like, out of nowhere.
Right.
And then he like, and then if you don't kill him, which I don't think I fought him too many times, in my first, like really sitting down and playing through the whole, both scenarios.
For Mr. X, right?
Yeah, for Mr. X, right. Yeah, I don't remember fighting him too much. I remember mostly just running past him.
I think a lot of people did that. Same for Nemesis, the first time it happened.
Yeah, because you're thinking automatically, oh man, this guy's gonna take a lot of ammo, and I really don't have the ammo for it. Or the proper weapons. I mean, depending on how you did your inventory. And so, him giving chase throughout 2 was pretty terrifying for its time, yes. I would say it was definitely spooky.
Spooky, scary, always.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to actually ask a question because I don't remember. Do you happen to know... Because I've been carrying around this small key for a while. And I think the custom handgun part, or the custom Magnum parts are just sitting. Like, you don't need a small key, but I think you need them for the custom shotgun, correct?
No.
Oh, okay. So both of the custom shotgun and Magnum are just sitting out?
Yep.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, you get 2 small keys. One small key is for the custom handgun parts, and you can use the second small key for the first aid spray.
Okay, it's just a first aid spray then?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can dump that off then.
Yeah, it's either first aid spray or it's handgun ammo. It's one of the two. It's actually in this room. The room that you're in with the safe chest.
Huh. That's weird.
Yeah.
I could have swore that there was... Okay, well, whatever. There it is. It's shotgun shells. Interesting.
Yeah, or shotgun shells. There you go.
Still good. That's weird, though. I could have swore that one of the customs required it, but I guess not. Anyway, let's see. What do I want to do here? You know, I don't think I care about the custom handgun right now. I think I'd rather just have the custom machine gun if I'm going to use up both of my spaces. Yeah, that seems fine.
Machine gun's okay. I would...
Just to use it up, basically.
Yeah, if you're looking just to use it up and conserve ammo and everything else, then yeah, go for it that way.
Because even though the submachine gun looks like awesome and it shoots really fast, it's really not that powerful of a weapon, right?
Right, yeah, it's more of a look thing. I would say it's in between a handgun and shotgun in terms of power.
And it looks like the only thing I need to do is go second floor, right side.
But that custom shotgun, best weapon though.
I actually really like the Magnum and Custom Magnum, but the shotgun in general is just so good, especially with how much ammo you get for it over the course of the game. I am seriously the most broken record when it comes to that, but it's so absurd, the difference between the bowgun and the shotgun, and how they could even pretend they were comparable in playtesting.
Well, I like the bowgun just because it was just a unique weapon in itself.
It was interesting, but, like, you quickly learn that interesting doesn't mean good, as with things like the electricity shot or Jill's mine thrower. You know? Like, these items that seem cool on paper, but they're just awful in practice.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, actually, no, the mine thrower is actually not that bad. It's actually good for, like, it's supposed to be... The only problem I have with certain weapons is, okay, the mine thrower came too late in RE3, just because it's more of a crowd control weapon. It's good for handling clusters of zombies, but not
but at the time, yeah, but at the time you get it, there's not really any clusters of zombies left either. Per se.
Right? Yeah, it came too late. Yeah, and for RE2, the bowgun, I would say is similar. It has good potential to handle the cluster of zombies in the RPD, especially like in the hallways, because it shoots out 3 arrows. So
yeah, but that's the thing too, is because it shoots those 3 arrows. The damage was never consistent either. Like, there were times where I was blown away by how much damage the bowgun did, but sometimes I'd be like, why didn't this kill?
Right.
So.
Yeah, then like for the spark weapon, it was like, it was gimmicky at best. It was just like an oversized taser. Like, there you go.
Right, and I don't need to go down into the basement for B here. I just need to head in the side office, I think. So you played... Okay, so revisiting it again. So you play Resident Evil 2 on the PlayStation X, and you don't get to finish it up. Was there a reason why? Like, what were your initial thoughts on the game when you did play it on that version?
My initial thoughts on the PSX version. I don't know, for some odd reason, I just for whatever reason, I think the main reason why I never finished it on the PSX is because I think I had one of the third-party memory cards, and like the memory card got like corrupted, and I was just like, you know what, I'm not going through the game again. Like, it's okay, right? But you gotta remember too, at the time that one I didn't own it. It was my brother's copy, so
right.
Like, I didn't have it all the time to be able to sit down and play it.
Yeah.
So when I ended up getting the N64 and I saw the N64 version, I was like, you know what? All right, you know what? I'll get this one and finish it. Because, you know, obviously at that time, you know, like everybody had the memory cards and the mobile packs and all that stuff. At that time, being a teenager when the N64 came out, you know, I didn't have like none of the third-party stuff. I had the first-party stuff. And so I ended up.
And third-party stuff in general tended to be not so great.
Yeah.
So just to really quickly butt into Mr. X again. Straight flat hallway. I have still 15 Magnum rounds. So guess what I'm gonna do to him? Yeah, that's right. I'm just gonna shoot him until he falls over. Continue.
Okay. So and then. So what I found interesting the most, aside from how they took a PlayStation game and got it on the N64, was that it was all self-contained into one card. Like you can play both scenarios. Oh, and you know you don't have to change disc. You don't have to worry about losing a disc. You don't have to worry about the disc scratching. You don't have to worry about a lot of things.
A lot of conveniences with cartridges over discs. Without belaboring it too much, like discs I do think discs were the better medium, but there were definite advantages to the cartridge as far as durability and things like load times. But continue.
Right. And but to get back onto the PSX though, I was taken away by the sharpness of the graphics itself, just in general, the details that, like when you go into the chief's office and you go through the hallway and you see the taxidermy stuff and things of that sort. I was really like taken away. I wasn't like it sort of felt like, in a weird way, like they, I don't know, kind of dumbed down the tone for a lot of the areas, especially like for the RPD in general. Like the main office, most of the hallways where you go, you know, searching for the items. But I felt like certain parts of it, they like really did a real good detail job of. So I would say, based on the two, having played between the two and had finally gone back and finished the PSX version eventually. If you're looking for detail, I would say definitely play the PSX version. If you want to be immersed into the environment. And if you're interested in playing in the dark and things of that sort. One game I'll never touch again, though, is Silent Hill.
Any particular reason?
Too spooky for me.
Too spoopy.
Yeah, there's one part where, in Silent Hill 1, where, because you really don't start off with the weapon, you just start off with, the lighter. And you have to go through the area with the lighter, and like those things just come out of the dark out of nowhere.
Yeah,
that was the scary part for me.
And you have no weapons and no way to get out, and you're like, what?
Yeah,
that was one of the parts that really struck me about that game the first time playing it, and I mentioned when we were doing our Silent Hill playthrough. So I mentioned like your feelings on it the first time you played it. So you go through the game. How do you think it stacks up to the first game when you first finish it? Or do you really make that comparison at all?
I don't know. In a weird way, I would say 1 and 2 are almost completely different. And I guess this is, I'm trying to find a short way to explain this. Okay, one's like, all right, you know, you guys are split up, and all right, you gotta, you know, it's the basic concept of trying to find survivors. Okay, where in one, it's like, okay, you're limited to the house, and you're basically just solving it's more, I would say 1 was more puzzle heavy and more exploration heavy, whereas 2, it's more linear in the terms of exploration. Not as many puzzles and more action. For like one, yeah, you had as I guess you would call quote unquote boss fights, whereas two is like you don't have that many. You only have like what really one or two boss fights depending on how you play the scenarios.
Yeah.
Because I think for Leon B, I think you have two boss fights, which are like near the end.
Well, Leon B, you get the Mr. X encounters, which I'd see as kind of like, well, I guess they're pseudo boss fights because you don't have to fight them. So.
Yeah. No,
they are something to consider.
Yeah, no, when I say boss fights, okay, let me clear up. When I say boss fights, I mean it's a forced engagement. Like you have to take the engagement.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah. So for like Leon A, it's like easy peasy. That much I remember because I always started off with Leon A. I mean, eventually I did a Claire A and then Leon B.
I think everybody did Leon A and Claire B, just because that's the way the discs were set up. You know, Leon's was in the front, Claire's was in the back, so you just assume that's how you had to do it.
Right. Right, yeah, then later on you pick up a Game Pro and it says, oh yeah, guess what, you can unlock all this stuff if you play Claire A, you know, play Leon A and Claire B, and then Claire A and Leon B.
Make him pay.
So I think this is the first document that we're going to get that's going to be different than Claire's scenario. So I guess I'll go ahead and narrate this real quick. After Ada speaks her piece. Mail to the chief. Oh, never mind. It's just... yeah, never mind. Same thing. Just Birkin saying that Annette's his contact.
Where are you going, Ada?
To the chemical plant. I have a feeling that's where I'll find John.
Ada, wait! Hey!
Leon, are you still there? We're leaving.
Are you crazy? The streets are still crawling with zombies.
It'll be all right, trust me. We found a way to the sewer. Follow us later.
Claire! Claire! Wait!
Give me a minute. I'm sorry.
Alright. So as you can see, nobody respecting the authority that Leon has. Just ignoring his wishes in every capacity possible. And, rip Ben. Barely knew ye. But we do have the night key now. It'll make it a lot easier to kind of get where we need to go. I'm trying to think of what I want to do. So I could head back this way. Would lead me to the weapon rooms and not much more. Guess I take the manhole here. So we're going to be on our way to kind of our first real boss coming up here. What's happening? There's that. Yeah, okay, this is where we are.
So here's the interesting mechanic change you might not know. Is that between Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3, there's no speed difference in the movement of your character if he's carrying regardless of a two-handed weapon or a one-handed weapon.
Ah.
Where in 3 they added it in where I guess it's supposed to be like a weight effect.
Hmm.
and so so Jill runs slower with two-handed weapon.
Yeah, I was noticing that that was something that people were doing when I was watching little bits and pieces of speedruns. Was that present, or was that weight mechanic present in the first game as well, or did it only appear?
No,
Second.
no. The weight mechanic didn't appear till 3.
Okay.
No, because anybody that speedruns Resident Evil 1 runs around with a rocket launcher the whole entire time.
So I think we're good here. I am a little low on health, but I'm going to hold off on using my red and green herb because I'm probably going to get hit here at least once.
Oh, the mini boss fight, yeah.
Because I'm not going to use... I'm going to try to use my submachine gun to save on my magnum rounds a little bit. So
Yeah, I remember the Magnum taking him out pretty fast. Or the shotgun.
Magnum will blow away anything really fast. Actually, I take it back. I will definitely use the Magnum. Because this guy has, I think, an instant kill move at very high health.
Oh, man, I don't remember. I just remember blasting him away with the...
Oh yeah, he bashes you with the stick and you're like super bad.
Oh, yeah.
So, I guess... Yeah, he can eat shit. This is what I mean, like... This boss, who's exceptionally dangerous when you fight as Claire, is a joke with Leon. See you later, Birkin.
Yeah, then and then like the other change mechanic they added was the auto aim. 3.
Auto aim does exist in this version of the game. It also existed in Director's Cut on PlayStation. I don't know if it was in the base 2. I think it was. I think it was in every game but base 1. I think the very first Resident Evil non-Director's Cut didn't have it. But I could be mistaken.
I don't remember 2 having auto aim.
It has it on... Well, in this version, it's GameCube, obviously, so they split auto-aim and manual.
What was that all about?
But in the PlayStation version of the game, I think it was Type C controls had it. It was either Type B or Type C.
Oh, that's what it might have been. Yeah, see, I never messed with the control scheme. I never changed it. So, to me, I've always known the game as default.
My job to look out
no auto aim.
But we're not going to get through this
yeah,
we don't work together.
Type C, I believe, is the exact same layout, just with auto-aim, which is kind of funny. It is a very different game, though, when you play it without auto-aim. The hero of our story, Hunk, eating shit right now, near this filtering machine.
Dude, you gotta heal up. See them limp. It's driving me crazy.
Oh, man. I'm just walking around in shit water. What's it matter? What's it matter if I'm bleeding?
No, the spooky moment in 2 was, I think the alligator scene.
2? I think there's quite a few that are pretty memorable in this game.
Yeah, because I remember when I first encountered the alligator, I died because I didn't know you were supposed to, like, you could tag
Shoot the... Yeah.
Yeah, the oxygen tank or whatever that is.
I think that is definitely one of those things that people can easily overlook their first few times playing the game.
Yeah, I remember fighting him straight up and then dying.
Okay. So, I guess I can't open up that in this scenario. That's...
What is this, Leon B?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Leon A. It's kind of funny. I remember exploring, and for Leon A. Back when I was a kid or teenager. Um, I remember going onto both sides of this particular part of the game, taking both elevators. The one that he originally comes down in, and then going across, and taking the other one and going up and collecting all the other stuff. Like the first few playthroughs, I didn't do it, but then one day I decided to do it. It's like, oh, you can go into the other room.
Yeah, like it's not showing that I can open up this section.
Right.
Oh, there we go. I guess it's just a push open. And Claire, she has like a, I don't know what to call it, a thingy that lets her open up like a secret door, and then you go down that way. I can't see anything in this room. Too dark to see anything. I'll say. Wait.
There should be
alcohol lamps. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I was gonna say. Should be a lamp near you.
Right. Here's our
There's
magnum bullets.
There's 2 lamps actually.
Your other alcohol lamp.
But the only downside I would say between 2 and 3 is that okay, like Leon has the lighter that doesn't take up an inventory slot, and Claire has a knife that doesn't take up an inventory slot. Or like in 3, they're like, you know what? We're not going to give you that free inventory slot.
At the very least, though, they did give Jill her side pack relatively early in the game, which is nice.
Yeah.
Also, the obvious other change being the dodge, but that really doesn't need to be mentioned, I guess. So as you can see, I am just bursting to the seams with ammo right now for both of my powerful guns. I think if I'm going into the sewer, I want the valve now.
Yeah, RE2 have like way too much ammo.
Actually, playing through them again, I really feel like all of them had too much. Well, too much ammo is kind of misleading. They had an abundance of ammo if you knew where to look. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if you checked everywhere, I'm sure you would, like, you know, find it.
Well, that's the thing, is we come from a background where I guess it's common to search everything.
Right.
I don't think that everybody, the first time they play this game, scrounges for ammo or knows exactly where it's at. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they kind of had to put extra ammo in there to make sure that people found what they needed. Same thing applies for all the games, though. Like, I had an abundance of ammo in 3 near the end, especially when I found out about, or when I was told about that glitch, where you can basically double up on grenade ammo. And then in Resident Evil 1, I had trucks of ammo.
Leon,
Wow, really?
that woman was.
I
Yeah.
remember casually playing through RE1, and
Let me hold on. Let me qualify that for one thing, though. I was playing Jill on the normal mode. I've heard on a ranged mode director's cut, it's a lot more stringent.
Yeah, I remember not having as much ammo. I remember having like barely any ammo.
I remember another person, Mr. Sengar, was mentioning that he thought 1 was one of the harder games because it deprived you of ammo really heavily. But I actually showed him my casual playthrough of RE1 that I did recently. And that casual playthrough, I had something like 24 Magnum rounds plus the 6 in the gun, 20 acid, and I think 11 flame rounds, maybe?
Wow.
And that was at the end of the game. Like, pretty close to it, like maybe 20 minutes out from the very end. It was ridiculous. It's like, yeah, I actually ran out of shotgun, and that made me kind of worried. But then I was like, oh wait, I still have a billion other ammo.
Yeah. That, and I think in RE1 you have definitely less inventory slots, too.
If I'm not mistaken. Identify yourself.
If you're Chris.
Yeah.
Ada Wong. Ada Wong. I've heard that name before.
Because yeah, if you're going based on generation, yeah, we were kind of in the phase of like, oh, why would I play a female character? I'm gonna pick a male character.
Well, it's not just that. It's
know?
as I mentioned, if you didn't know where everything was, like you kind of do now,
Yeah.
you were amazed right now that I was like, there's so much ammo around that game, but there is. It's just, do you know where to find it, and are you willing to backtrack to dump off items to pick it up?
Right.
I regret this. You will be joining him shortly.
And it wasn't like I was aggressively dodging things either. Like when hunters were there, I was killing them. Because you don't want to fuck with hunters.
Capable of creating the ultimate bioweapon.
Unless they jump over you. If they jump over you, just run. Because you're never going to turn around in time.
The creature in the
Yeah.
police department is
Yeah, that was another mechanic change when 3 came out. They added the quick turn.
Yeah.
And it's all
A much needed one, in my opinion.
None of this would have
Yeah.
happened if they had
Because it was just way too easy to get beat down. Because something would jump behind you or get behind you, and you had no way to effectively get to it.
That pendant?
Right.
It looks exactly like the one I gave Sherry. She dropped it. I've been holding on to it.
Yeah, in a weird way, I guess you could say
Liar.
playing through
Give
1
it
and
back
2,
to
it's
me.
like almost like a choked gameplay style, because you're having to be more cautious and of how you move, especially more well,
bad.
definitely not on your first playtime, but more on your second and third, because now you're familiar with how the enemies move. And you know how they're gonna come at you, so you approach it more differently. Just to always be sure that you're consistently facing them
Right.
and not getting getting caught off guard.
So we were talking, or me and KK were talking about kind of the direction the series had went. What are your thoughts in Resident Evil going from 1, 2, 3 to the spin-offs and 4, 5, 6 and beyond? Like, how do you feel about the direction the game has taken?
Okay, if you're counting in the spin-offs, which I'm assuming you meaning
Well,
the Outbreak file.
I see the spin-offs as like even their own section beyond that, you know? Like, I think of 1, 2, 3, then I think of the spin-offs, and then I think of 4, 5, 6. So, like, what do you think of, like, kind of 4, 5, 6? Like, the newer Resident Evils comparative to the original trilogy?
Okay, well,
Ada?
I guess I'll start with 4. Okay, 4, it was a bit of a refresher to see Leon again. Like, oh, okay, well, it's Leon, yay. And 4 sort of makes reference to I'm trying to think of what report from which Resident Evil. I think he makes reference to Chris's report in 2, where he finds that
They were going to Europe, correct?
Yeah,
What you're referring to.
yeah, something like that. Yeah, so they touch on it a little bit, just very little. But overall, though, 4, the way 4 was in itself.
By the way, I just found another small key.
Oh man. The way 4 was in itself. It was a different change for sure. Could I say, oh, was it canon with 1, 2, and 3? Not really, because I think with 4, 5, and 6, especially going from 4 to 5, they're trying to introduce a new type of, I guess, quote-unquote enemy, like evil corporation type of, enemy.
So you don't
Is
even
it
see
for-
them as canon to the story, then?
No, not really, because Umbrella was already like pretty much done with by the time 3 came out.
That's
And
an
they
interesting philosophy on it, because I've never heard somebody say they didn't consider them canon at all. It's just they didn't like the direction that the story was maybe going. So to hear that is kind of an interesting thought.
Well, I mean, because you have to also consider too. Granted, yeah, Umbrella was a global company. I mean, maybe they took on a different name in the sense of, you know, different parts of the world, but overall, though, it didn't feel like, oh, you're fighting Umbrella still. Like, now you're fighting a new, different type of
Enemy
terrorism,
altogether.
I guess.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, something that you hear consistently with, like, very, very hardcore Silent Hill fans is they feel you cannot have a Silent Hill game without the cult involvement. Because the cult is kind of the only connecting fiber between the first 4 games of Silent Hill. Do you feel like that's kind of a common theme with Resident Evil as well regarding Umbrella? Like, do you need Umbrella to have a Resident Evil game?
No, not necessarily. I don't think you need Umbrella to have a Resident Evil game. I think Resident Evil in itself is driven by the fact that you're always fighting against something that's I guess you would consider what, bioterrorism in a weird way.
Well, the reason I say that is because you had mentioned you didn't consider the game's canon because they weren't really like Umbrella anymore.
Right, yeah, they're not canon
So-
because it's not Umbrella. Like, it's just, oh, here's a new threat,
So,
something.
but that's the thing. Do you think in order to have a Resident Evil game that you feel is like canon that runs parallel with the story, you need to have Umbrella be a factor in it?
I'm trying to think of
That's what I
exactly
meant by, is it a Resident Evil game? That's kind of what I was more referring to.
Oh, okay. If you're looking at, of course, I guess everybody's gonna have their different opinions, but I mean, to me, I look at it as it's still a Resident Evil game, just because, hey, look, you know, they brought back Chris and things like that. It's a different type of scenario, but in the sense of story, no, it's probably not what most people would think a Resident Evil game.
But I do agree that I think that there is a distinct difference between Resident Evils when you're considering the ones that really focused on the Umbrella operations and the ones where it really started pushing off into the individual people. Like, it's no longer about
Leon.
Umbrella, it's about Wesker, it's about the Ashfords,
Bullet wound
like
is
these
making
people
Yeah.
in that organization.
Quiet, Leon.
And it does
Yeah,
have a
well-
distinctly different feel.
Yeah, well, in a weird way, I guess in a weird way, I guess you could say it tied all together because
That's 2 I owe.
Wesker,
Don't
if you remember in Resident Evil 1, Wesker had no intentions of really
I just
working
found out.
with
John's dead.
What?
Umbrella. He was kind of
Never
more or less
mind.
just using
Let's
them
just get out of here.
to,
The sooner the
in a
better.
weird way, to feed his own weird motivations. And that becomes more prominent later in the series. Where like, you know, you start fighting Wesker, and, you know, Wesker becomes this mutated being that has to survive on, you know, injections and things of that sort.
Yeah.
So I
Just
guess in a
really
weird way,
odd things in general happening.
Yeah, I guess you could say in a weird way, yeah, Wesker became the new Umbrella, so to speak. But he was more focused on, you know, creating new weapons and just wiping out humanity altogether.
I also made a mistake and forgot to use the crank again. Okay. So another thing that I love here is she's just like, I'm just gonna patch you up and get you cleaned up, Leon, when he's been shot and traipsing through sewer water this whole time. That wound is infected as shit.
Yep.
Like, I'll just put a band-aid on it. Look at how much blood is on that bandage, too. Like, need a bit more medical attention than that.
Yeah. I just love how he keeps running throughout the whole game, even during the cutscene with the bleeding bandage and everything. Like, oh, like, you know, like, oh, I'm not in pain. I'm not agonizing here. He's on the train, all casual. And
Yeah,
like,
went
"Oh,
right
yeah,
through. Went right through.
Let's get out of here. Yeah.
It's fine. Went right through. What's storytelling?
Yeah, really.
Storytelling is that thing that nerds care about.
Yeah, that's another thing about Resident Evil. You had to do a lot of reading. Like, if you really wanted to be immersed into the story.
You also had to find the documents, because some of them are a little bit harder to find, a bit more hidden. Did you ever get involved with any of the other Resident Evil media besides the games?
I watched the movies. I watched the first 3.
Yeah, that's a Resident Evil media. No, I'm just... But, did you ever get into maybe the books at all or anything? Or the comics? Or just, was it movies and the games?
Just the movies and games.
The
only games...
I've heard mixed views on the comics and the books. Like, I've heard the books are good when they follow the actual game itself, but when they go off on their own, it's awful. I don't know about the comics, so...
Yeah, well, if I go based on past experience of other gaming and comic-related scenarios, that rings true, usually.
I'd like to mention that I've been like, I want to use up this machine gun, and I haven't had the opportunity to really use it once in a constructive way. It's like every enemy that I've fought in has been super dangerous.
Oh, but if you ever get a chance to go back to RE3, you should complete Jill's diary. It gives you more of a perspective as to where Jill is between the events of 2 and 3.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and look it up. Playing video games, not reading books. Thank God.
Well, I mean, it's cool. Well, I mean, it's cool because at the end you get like a little interesting cutscene and whatever. Yeah.
Thank God that Ada can run as fast as Leon can. Because holy shit, that was a pain in the ass for a Claire scenario.
Yeah, leaving her far behind. Yeah, it's like, oh my God, really.
And the problem is she doesn't run as fast as you do, so it's super easy to leave her behind.
Yeah, but Claire's not even running that fast to begin with. Like, well, I mean, neither is Leon, but I mean, you know, like, come on, really? Like, they couldn't make the kids keep up?
Yeah. Especially since the kid's supposed to outrun you to get away from you. You would think they would at least give them base speed of the characters, but fuck that, I guess.
Right. Yeah, because when you're first fighting her, she's like zooming off like no tomorrow. Like she was hopped up on too much sugar or something, and when you finally do catch her and she follows you, it's like, what? Hey kid, what happened to all that sugar? It's like, holy cow.
So we're gonna get to meet another boss coming up here. So to give a boss count, we fought the Birkin monster once. I think that's Birkin 1, correct?
Yeah.
First form Birkin. I never got why they gave this angle in this game. Like, it always... I get the feeling like maybe the Japanese version had an item here, or maybe the beta had an item there, and they got rid of it. It's very quizzical. It's next to the train. They like kind of change the perspective slightly to show what looks like a shelf with gas on it or something.
I'm trying to remember now if there was ever an item there or not. I almost want to say there was arrows there for Claire.
There was not on the recent playthrough. Unless it's on, like, Claire B or something, but I don't know why it would do that. Oh, here's another boss fight. Yeah, Tram. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it might happen. I know it happened to Leon. I can't remember if it happened to Leon, dude. Yeah, apparently it happened. Oh wow, Ada's not even fighting. Oh, okay, there she goes. I was about to say what?
She tries.
She tries, yeah. Or you know, or like you could save your ammo and just let her do all the shooting. For as weird as that sounds, but yeah, it's a little slower. Because Ada has infinite ammo, so like.
It's interesting. I thought Ada was supposed to get hit there. I guess, or no, it's on the one that probably goes downward, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, it's the elevator one.
Yeah, okay. So this time I have the lighter here. It was a big problem in the Claire scenario. The police, there we go.
Yeah,
Weapon
this
box.
part was stupid. You have to light that just to see an item on the ground right next to you at your feet.
Yeah. Not even a necessary item either, which is kind of funny. Alright, so, time to get us a custom shotgun here, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's in the hallway. It's in one of the hallways.
We'll also be finishing up our machine gun here.
Yeah, and I believe the the spark gun here too.
Alright, end of here. Can't carry any more items. Alright, what can we do? I think there's a save point coming up here in just a sec. And if I get the save point, then I can dump off some stuff.
Yeah, so anyway, so you go back to Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6.
Right,
And then for
sorry.
5, for 5... I mean, to find out, oh, it's TriCell behind the whole thing, and, you know, the company that's supposed to be helping with, you know, the baloney and helping deal with the problem, and, you know, and you come to find out, well, why is Umbrella part of it? You know, type of deal.
Yeah, it does seem kind of odd that that would get overlooked, right? It's
Yeah.
like, why is one of our subsidiaries an evil corporation? Because at that point, at the time of Resident Evil 5, I believe Umbrella is connected to eco-terrorism, right? Like, they've been
Yeah, pretty
identified.
much. Yeah.
I don't know if they were in 4 yet.
We
But,
finally arrived.
yeah.
There
No,
must be something
no, I don't think
hidden
so.
here.
4 yet. I think in 4 they were just kind of out of the loop.
Alright, let's go ahead and put this gun away. Oh, the valve, too. Don't need you anymore, valve. Small key. I have no idea where the small key is used, so... Weapon box do I need? I don't need this for now, so I'll put that down. And we're gonna go ahead and head back. Get that custom shotgun. Get those herbs, also.
And then, unfortunately, I never finished 6. What a surprise!
I've heard
right?
that's quite a few people had trouble finishing that game.
No, it wasn't not because it was hard.
I know, for
lost
moral
the-
reasons.
Yeah,
Moral reasons, not...
moral reasons.
It's the principle, damn it.
I mean, you know, the only thing I liked it for was for the eye candy. I mean, like, oh, you know, new graphics, yeah, that bit.
So here's an interesting thing. So I mentioned the offshoot games. And something that I didn't mention, because most people think like you, they were like Outbreak, Survivor. These games that are, I think, pretty universally considered poor to terrible. But there is one game in that I didn't really mention, and that's Remake, which I think is a very different style of game. from even the first 3. So I think it kind of fits in that idea, like, this is not the same game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are your views on, like... What are your views on Remake, number 1? And what are your views on the idea that, you know, presumably there will be a remake for Resident Evil 2 that will be coming out sometime in the future?
Well, okay, well, I've played Remake 1. I actually at one time thought about speedrunning it, but unfortunately I disregarded that idea due to the main fact that, obviously, the PC version is just much faster, and I can't run the PC version at the moment. So, as for Remake, I felt the beginning, a lot of it was similar to the classic RE1. I felt the game really started to change once you got midway through. Like, it started sort of like it taking on a different reincarnation, I would say. In the sense of just mostly of how you would handle...
it's a very different game from 1.
Certain puzzles. Okay, if you're talking mechanically speaking, yes.
Mechanically? I would say even mechanically and presentation-wise, because one of the big things is, like, people got really fucked up. Because there were people that knew Resident Evil backwards and forwards, and then they come to that game and they just decided, we're gonna switch where these item locations are, we're adding these rooms are no longer connected to one another. Just these changes that seem so minor on the surface, but they just completely changed the way the game was presented to older players.
Well, if you're talking about being a loyalist to the game and having played it inside out and things like that, then yes, I would say it's a definitely different game. Considering, though, the fact that I only played RE1 to the point of just learning, let's say, like the basics to speedrun it, right? In regards of that sense, it's not too much different. I mean, in comparison to the, you know, remake and classic. But if we're talking, again, like you said, knowing the games in and out, yeah, it would definitely be different. But I felt, though, cosmetically, it felt like, though, a lot of the weapons were in the same location, except for the change in bazooka and the grenade launcher. I would say we're definitely in different locations. But overall, I don't knock it too bad, because it's in a weird way.
Do you think that it was a fine? Do you think it was a return to form for Resident Evil 1 through 3, or do you think it's just even its own type of thing altogether?
I think it's its own type of thing altogether, just to revitalize the franchise, to try to get this generation of people that have never heard of, like, you know, an NES or Super Nintendo. Hey, what's the hell is a PlayStation 1, right? To try to reboot the franchise and try to gather this generation of gamers.
I thought that it was a return to form, basically, because Remake was finally a game where I felt like they were legitimately making a survival horror game again. It was no longer... Like, they took Resident Evil 4, because Remake happened between 4 and 5, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they took Resident Evil 4 and they were like, this is an action-based series right now. But then they took a step back and they were like, here's survival horror again, but look at how much better we can make it look. And they kind of crisped up the gameplay. They took care of a lot of the things that felt really cumbersome with the original formula.
Right.
And yeah, they were presenting it to a new audience, but I think they did a faithful representing what it used to be. It was still felt like a Resident Evil 1 through 3 game. Like, you still had all the same vibes. While it's something like, you know, a Resident Evil 4 is a way different game.
Right.
So I think they did a fairly good job in that respect. Presenting it to a new audience, but keeping the same soul, for lack of a better word, of the games.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that I will agree with. Yeah.
Also, apparently I can't find where this key is at. What do I need? Yeah. Okay, I don't know where this key is at, so maybe it's out in the attic again, and I just missed it.
Wait, what are you trying to do?
I need a key for the control panel near Ada in order to call the tram.
Oh man.
Because there's only handgun bullets over here.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of where the key's at. Call the tram.
Oh, there we go. Never mind. I just. Never mind. There was an elevator, and I thought I triggered it, but it didn't, I guess. Like I was on the wrong pixel or something. Something silly like that. Oh, right. So here's Mr. X. Next encounter. And once again, this encounter sucks as Claire. Because you have such a small amount of distance in order to take care of him. But yeah, for Leon, it's a complete joke. Oh no! Mr. Ooks. I mean, like, no, he's like, I'm a big bad motherfucker and I'm gonna ruin your day! But then, you know...
It's Steve-O from Friday. Here's that walk.
But then I just shoot him 4 times and I'm just like, he doesn't even stand a fucking chance! And then I stick my hand up his butt and get shotgun shells. Yeah, this is why I recommend Neon B when people actually play this game. Even outside of... Like I mentioned before, even outside of the canon of the story, like, it's... like, Leon just completely shits on Mr. X so badly. And it's in the worst way, too, because it's like, I just shot him with 4 bullets in the hallway outside of the police chief's office. Shot him with 4 magnum bullets, got 6 back.
Wow.
It's just... yeah. It's just slam dunking all over him the entire game. Okay.
Yeah, I think the only Resident Evil game, though, in general, that I didn't play was the Umbrella Chronicles.
Did you play the Survivor games?
I played the first one.
I won't really ask you your opinion on that, because I'll save that for another time, perhaps.
Alright.
But, so I mentioned, so we talked about remake, and I guess we got away from the original question as well, which was, what are your feelings about, so, fairly recently, about 2 months ago or so, Capcom released a statement that they are producing, or they're currently in production of a Resident Evil 2 remake. Any thoughts on this project, or what you'd like to see, or how do you think it'll get received by the public? Do you think Capcom can make a remake now in current-gen Capcom?
Okay. Here's what I expect, and here's what I don't expect. I'll put it like that. What I expect is, when they do finish the remake for 2, because I touched lightly on the fan remake, which, to my understanding, Capcom is sort of got the fan remake opinion on it. But if they definitely add in the quick turn mechanic and the dodge mechanic, I think it would be a fresh welcome for RE2 in general. Just because the way the gameplay is kind of stiff now. And, of course, you know, that's what I would like to expect. what I don't expect is that they keep the in a weird way the visual story the same.
So you think that they will represent the story, in addition to? Do you think they'll represent the story, or just represent the locations in the story? Or do you want me to kind of elaborate on what I mean by that?
No, I get what you mean. I'm just trying to think of how I want to answer that.
It's a great version of Birkin, by the way. Sorry to interrupt. I've always loved this one.
Yeah. I don't think they'll change the story, but a part of me wants to say that they might change the location of where the story takes place. And that's if, and now I get that opinion based on how they did one, basically.
What a jerk. So you'll think they'll change the locations. Do you think they'll make changes to the story to make it more in line with what they were doing with the story before?
As in before, as in...
with the other games. So there are some things that don't really make perfect sense when you look at Resident Evil 2 or Resident Evil 1 or Resident Evil 3 in a vacuum. And I think they tried to address that by adding a bigger connection to, say, the Ashfords and the remake, things like that. Do you think they're going to make changes or elaborations on the story in a remake for 2? Like, do you think they'll inject Code Veronica into the storylines?
I think they'll add in more context just to help fill in more gaps. Like that.
Does that worry you at all? That it might kind of mess up the story? Or do you think it's going to be more of a cosmetic change than anything else? Just adding references?
It'll be more of a cosmetic, I think.
Welcome back. Hey, take it easy. We're inside Umbrella's secret lab.
So one of the other things I mentioned is, do you think... Do you trust current-gen Capcom to do well by remake? Because, for example, it's only one name that I'm throwing out there, but they don't have Shinji Mikami, for example, to really work on it.
It's my job to look after you.
They're not going to have most of the original team for these games. And I've said it about the Final Fantasy VII remake that everybody's so interested about, that it's not the company that makes it, it's about the people involved with the company.
Right.
So, do you think that current-gen Capcom can produce that same magic of the original remake?
We're leaving this place
together. Producing the same magic, probably not. No. But if you go in if you go in with the opinion that, hey, look, this is supposed to be a remake for, again, to draw in a new audience, and you look at it as in a weird way as a fresh new game with a touch of an old familiar game, and then it'll be fine. Like, you have to judge it for itself, and you can't expect the remake from, I mean obviously from a business standpoint, you can't expect the remake to be exactly like the classic. Okay, as a fan of the series, though, you're always going to anticipate, oh, the remake's just going to be a visual overhaul of the classic, right? And you hope for that they add in a few more differences in terms of mechanics, but overall, I mean, you have to just naturally expect it to be a whole different game. Like all of us are going to enjoy seeing our favorite cutscenes and, I guess you would say current gen graphics and things of that sort. Like, we're all going to have that moment, like, oh my god, yeah, I remember this cutscene, it looks great, blah, 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 right? Or particular story, or particular plot moments in the game. But when it comes down to it, though, I think it's just going to be, in a weird way, a game in itself.
So here's an interesting thought.
But you gotta remember, though, I'm judging it based on what they did with RE1.
Ah. So here's an interesting thought. Is... What do you think... How do I want to express this? Like, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. What are some of the set pieces that you're most excited to see in the possibility of an RE2 remake?
What do you mean by set pieces?
Like, for example, the iconic kind of entrance to the mansion. When people saw that in Remake, they basically flipped their shit. You know, like, something that they knew so well, that, you know, just that first room that they know so well, but
Right.
it had such a lasting impact on the game as a whole. You know? And then
Yeah.
they see it remade, and it looks fantastic. Like, what are you hoping to see get that type of attention in an RE2 remake?
The intro to the city. Okay. You know, in the cutscene, Leon arrives in his jeep. He gets off. He encounters the zombies, and then he encounters Claire, and then they make a break for the car, and then they try to run, and then they end up being separated by a car crash. Okay. What I'm sort of hoping what they do is they keep the same intro, but in a way address it where, like, you actually get to play out that scenario.
Interesting.
And then, or what? Well, that's what I'm hoping for. What's probably to be expected is the way they do the intro for when you first enter the RPD. You know how you get the classic sort of
The pan over the entire
Panorama.
RPD.
yeah.
Yeah. I could agree with that. That was actually the one that I was thinking of just in general. Something that
Yeah.
I think will be... That, I think that scene alone, when you see that, you will see what they're going to do visually with the game, if it's going to be positive or negative.
Right.
Like, that one scene is going to show you everything you need to know.
Pretty much.
For better or worse.
Yeah. I mean, like, he's lightly touched on the idea of, like, what Square's doing with 7 Remake. Yeah, when I saw the video where it's like, I guess it's supposed to be just a demo video of what the game's gonna be like, I was already disappointed. like, there's a good chance that I will never touch the 7 Remake.
It'll be interesting to see. I don't want to touch too much on it because
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
there's
no, I
so
get
much to discuss with that it deserves its own kind of avenue.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I mentioned that purely because of the parallel that I was drawing there. Like, the same people that make Remake are not going to be the same people that make the Resident Evil 2.
Right.
So, and like, people get so excited over these projects that they really love and they really want to happen for so long, but they need to keep in mind, like,
It might be a
There's-
different game.
yeah, it could very well be a different game. It might be presented differently. Like, it might not be the game you want it to be.
Right. Yeah, presented differently, I would definitely expect. It's kind of like it's kind of like how I lost interest in playing Mario just because they can't. I mean, granted, it's the same game just about every time, but the way they started presenting it after, or I guess during Sunshine and then after, it was like, you know what, forget it.
So Submachine Gun's still doing work, at least for now. I think this will be a very iconic scene as well, where you see the iron smelting pot
Yeah.
in the B
yeah,
scenario.
Yeah, that
Really,
was,
that whole scene in general, where you do the climactic fight with Mr. X.
Yeah, this fight always reminded me of the scene from Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was a definite inspiration there.
Yeah, probably.
And so I just gotta go completely back. Need to go into the power room until later, I guess.
Yeah, it's. I believe it's after the fight. I don't even think you even have to be down here yet. I don't think.
Well, I needed to turn on the elevator power. That's kind of what I needed to do there.
Yeah, my memory's kind of fuzzy.
But I set up the box for later, I guess, so that's fine. Okay, yeah, I'm good on everything else. Look at how much firepower I have, by the way. Just, I don't know. Granted, I have both of my items that I could have had one on Claire.
Yeah. Yeah, the way I usually did it was when I did Leon A, I gave Claire the machine gun.
I always had Claire with the side pack, but that's usually because I had Claire for Scenario B. And Scenario B, as I mentioned before, is the one where you really need the extra inventory space, I feel. Alright, what's up, zombos? Getting machine gunned? Got ya.
Oh, the other noticeable difference between the N64 and the PlayStation version of RE2 was that there's the costume change for Leon. He gets a camouflage pair of pants instead of the green.
God, I love the custom shotgun. It's so good. Like, it just feels so satisfying to shoot. Like, the shotgun itself already kind of, like, it feels so good to shoot it, and then it has the pump action, so you get that feedback, I guess you would say. But then you get the custom shotgun, and it's blowing away half of a goddamn torso. Of multiple zombies. It's just...
Yeah, that's my favorite part.
They even changed the sound to make it feel impactful. Or more impactful.
Where did she go?
Yeah, it's actually pretty good against Birkin 2. Or Birkin, well, I guess depending on which scenario you're playing it from first. So, I guess he's technically Birkin 1.
So we fought Birkin... So we fought Birkin on the bridge, and we fought Birkin on top of the train. I think that a couple of the Mr. X encounters, I think, are boss encounters, because it's in such a narrow hallway that even if you can get past him, it doesn't feel like you can.
Yeah, the narrow hallway ones, yeah, no, I don't think you can actually get past them.
So if we're counting those, then we're at boss fight 4 that we've done, so this will be the 5th one, whichever one we go to next.
Too many boss fights.
Not nearly enough boss fights, some might say.
Wow.
Okay. Power. Get power, we need the fuse, which I think is over here. Yeah.
Oh, cool. You'll actually get to go through that one door if you did the fingerprint.
I did it with Claire.
Okay, cool.
And I think you need... Don't you need Ada to do the third one? Because there are three fingerprints. Or did I already screw it up?
No, I think... No, I think the machine already has one.
Oh.
Again, I think it depends on which scenario, which order of scenario you're doing it in. I'm more reflecting on Leon A to Claire B.
Because I thought you had to have a companion with you. But the thing is Sherry would have already been in the lab, like, fucked up.
Right.
So she can't do her fingerprint. So I thought it was Ada had to give you your third. But she's fucked up right now, too. So, I don't know. Very, odd. I also forget what's in that room. I think it's probably just ammo dump. Maybe that's where you get the flamethrower?
Maybe. No, the flamethrower, no. No, because I remember Leon A, you could pick it up outside. Yeah, I don't even remember what's in that room. I just remember if you play both scenarios, you can open the door. Or B scenario.
Okay, we need to go in the red door. So we need to get a card key before anything else. Or maybe a master key. Because the emergency... Oh wait, do the emergency shutters open right? Oh, they do. Yo, what's up, plant dudes?
Oh, they should be powered. Switch.
There we go. Plant dude's dead. Remember, what else is down this hallway? This one's locked from the inside. Oh yeah, and then this is the one with the plant inside, so I can deploy the BOW gas. Which I say for the B scenario, because I think I recall that being the way you want to go.
I actually don't even remember. I just remember setting up the gas and not having any problems.
There's our lab card key.
Because you have to climb to the shaft, I think, anyway.
Researcher's corpse. Yeah, I need to have the flamethrower, though, to kill off that plant.
Yep.
So, what's in here? Oh, that's the flamethrower. The locker for Leon. I'm trying to remember where the custom Magnum is.
Oh, the custom Magnum, I think it's in the, later in the facility. It's in that one, laboratory room where it has the bed. And there's like a cluster of zombies in there.
Oh.
If I remember right. But you're almost there, but you're not there yet.
Right. I'm out of space, though, so... really hoping that I can get to a, box here.
No. Oh, shoot. I think I remember going back to the save box at the very beginning of this facility.
Can't be, because you need the master key. So you'd either have to take the elevator up again, back to the one boiler room looking place, or...
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, now I remember. Yeah, you take the ladder down, and then you go through a long corridor with liquors, and then there's one save box in the room with all the monitors.
Yeah, here's our liquor friend.
Oh, that was another scary moment when I first played this. The liquors come out of the ceiling. They literally just burst out.
I don't think it was necessarily scary to see the liquor come out in the cutscene.
No,
but what was scary was seeing what a new hunter looked like, because you knew what those things could do.
Yeah.
I mean, if 2 is supposed to raise the stakes, as most, you know, sequels would do, it's like, what are these guys gonna do to me?
Right.
That's our ammo disc.
I was kind of disappointed they removed the liquor after 2.
Did it ever get revisited? Because I know the Hunter appeared in a few things, in different versions of the Hunter.
I guess you could say the Bloodsuckers in 3 were supposed to be more like an advanced version of the liquor, but without the long tongue. But no, I don't recall. If you're going in with the series, no, I don't recall liquor ever reappearing.
Oh, no ribbon here? Okay. So we got a box.
But the liquor worked in the same mechanic as the Hunter did, though. They can instant kill you if you're low enough health. They just leap at you and swipe and
cut your head off.
Yeah. They might have felt that the liquor was in a way, mechanically too much like a hunter. So that's probably the reason why you didn't see.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, that's probably the reason why you didn't see Lickers later on.
The funny part is I think that Resident Evil 1 had the more terrifying cast of creatures when you compare, not just the, not just the hunters, but the chimeras too.
Yeah.
The chimeras were ridiculous. Yo, what's up, Moth? Get shit on. No, stay down though. God, it's just they don't. It's so sad. Like they just don't stand any chance. So ridiculous.
Yeah, the Moth was kind of like a stupid enemy they had. I felt like what the hell is this? Just creepy terror effect or what? You're supposed to have technically the flamethrower for this part.
Yeah.
To clear the computer and deal with the Moth.
I guess time for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess they were trying to reproduce the same effect with the spider when you first encounter the spider in RE1.
Spooter.
Yep.
It is a cool idea, it's just that boss is... That's not really a boss, you know what I mean? Like, he's so easy to kill. But at the same time, this is just a side area. It isn't even necessary, so...
Right. It's like, wow, really, mutant moths? Alright.
Like, okay, if... I mean, that's what we want to do.
well then, I guess RE7 is gonna have mutant ants.
They didn't already?
Wow.
Weapon box key. There's our custom Magnum parts.
Oh, yeah, now I remember what the box key does.
So now we have the custom Magnum, which is probably my favorite weapon in any Resident Evil game. Then again, I really like the Colt Python. Really, any of those weapons are awesome to me. But I do love me a custom shotgun, though. I will admit that.
Yeah, it's the best one for two. Until you get the rocket launcher. Which is
like
kind
the
of
rocket launcher always felt like, I don't know.
What, gimmicky?
To me, it just didn't feel good because it's
Powerful?
like no, because the thing is custom Magnum and custom shotgun are retarded too as far as power, but it was more like it didn't feel like a rocket launcher because it has such a small explosion. It might as well have just been a bazooka that you had on your shoulder, you know what I mean?
Right.
But at the same time, I totally understand why they didn't make it like an explosion, because then it's like you kill your own character or something.
Right.
Which isn't very cool.
Yeah, too close of proximity. But then again, they really didn't care about proximity in these games.
Yeah. Guess I can grab this red herb while I'm here. Yeah, I don't need to make the vaccine, so I won't be returning to this area. At least I don't think so.
Yeah, RE3 Magnum was okay. You just couldn't customize it.
Yeah, I felt like the Western Custom, I don't know, it's just... It looked cool, but when you actually were shooting it, it just didn't... Something didn't feel right about it. I can't really put my finger on it. Which sounds super vague, but it's... I don't know. It's like, how do you quantify how something feels?
Right. The RE3 shotgun customizer reminded me of the weapon from, I don't know if you ever played the game Fear? Or not Fear, was it called Fear? For PlayStation?
No, it wouldn't have been PlayStation.
No, it's the game.
Or the,
it's sort of like a espionage mission system, but with the animated and it's
Fear Effect?
Was it Fear Effect?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Did it have
yeah,
like kind of an animated cover?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what it was then.
Yeah, Fear Effect. Yeah, Fear Effect, and the guy has like 2 mini shotguns.
Yeah, I never got to play that game, so.
Oh, dude, you gotta play it one of these days. It's a real good game.
It always catches my eye, like at retro shops, but yeah.
Oh, dude,
never really...
dude, you gotta play it. Like, just take my word on it. If you like Metal Gear and if you liked, trying to think of another game that would be
just those types of stealth espionage action.
Yeah, pretty much, but it's more futuristic. You'll like it.
I'll have to take a look at it at some point then.
And it has like, you know, really cool like modern weapons, but just done really cool.
Shoot.
Well, anyway,
the
upgraded shotgun in RE3 reminds me of the one dude's weapon from that game, because he has he has 2 shotguns, but he uses them like handguns. They look like mini versions of the shotgun, basically.
So we're closing in on the end of the game too. Probably got about like 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, something like that.
Didn't I get the master key? Oh, I got the power room key.
Right.
Huh. I don't need to go there yet, though.
No, because you would have gotten the cutscene where it says
stuff and things.
Yeah, stuff and things, pretty much.
Unbelievable. I really want to hit a box so I can get whatever that flamethrower sent me to also. So, I don't know. I don't think it's actually going to help me anymore.
No, not the flamethrower, no.
No, like you flamethrow the plant and it opens up that duct and that duct takes you somewhere. I don't remember if it matters.
It takes you to another room for another item, I think. But I can't remember which item. But it might be relevant, because I remember always doing that. See, there you go. 2 fingerprints. And now you're in this funky room.
Yeah, 3 hunters. Looks like the remains of a failed experiment. This is the deep lore room, clearly. Some sort of chemical basement. It is broken from the inside. You take the MG bullets. MG
machine gun.
Oh, machine gun. Fuck that. Is that all I was getting in here? Can't be it, right?
That might have been it, but I don't remember it being machine gun bullets, though. All that for a fingerprint process.
Can you give a quick check? Or can you quickly check online?
Yeah, I can check. What do you want me to check? To see what's in that room?
Yeah, what's supposed to be in the 3 fingerprint room for RE2. Because that feels wrong. Like there should be more in here than that. I mean, I'll pick up the bullets. Let's see. Yeah, it didn't give me anything else after I picked up the bullets, so... Yeah, weird.
Oh, okay. What's supposed to be in that room is either the submachine gun or the submachine gun clip, depending if you have the submachine gun with you or not.
Gotcha. So it was an alternate way to get the submachine gun if you didn't get it for the other character.
Right.
So in other words, completely useless for me. God, I hate that. I hate it when you, like, turn a corner, they just spray acid on you, because fuck you. Really all it comes down to. Magnum bullets? Sure, I'll take Magnum. And this is more just machines to synthesize the vaccine, I think.
Yeah, but you have to pick up. You have to pick up that something here too. Can always use more Magnum.
Yeah, no shines, just Magnum.
Okay, it might have been just a Magnum.
It's alright. More bullets, I guess. Guess they'll need them. And that's the cold room, which I did everything in there. I did everything in there. Okay, so the blue area is completely clear. And I would be done with the red area. Except...
You can flame floor to clear out that dude.
And I have enough space for it now, so...
I think that other room is where you pick up the Mo disc. Because you need the Mo disc to open up that one main door. Yeah.
Alright, flamethrower.
But yeah, I recommend saving the Magnum for your final boss.
Well, I'm gonna get the rocket launcher for him also. In the end, I'm gonna have enough ammo to do whatever, kind of. So, not too worried. Excuse me? Okay. This is not gonna work. Let's go ahead and use this. Do that. Sucked. I was really hoping I wouldn't have to use that stuff, but...
Oh, man.
Yeah, flamethrower, I guess, sucks. The weapon.
Yeah, versus Lickers, yeah.
Well, a couple of them, too, I guess. Guess that is noteworthy. Increment, no. Unlocked. A shine. Interior has been destroyed by the plant. Okay. Nothing really. Shotgun shells. Shotgun shells. Is that it? Looks like it was it. Ink ribbon. Alright, so I think we've done everything in here. We just need to take our power key. Yeah. I think that's the only thing we have left to do.
Wow, you haven't gone into that one save room yet.
Yeah, I don't have the master key yet.
Oh.
So I assume that's probably in the power room. No. Just have to go to that.
Yeah, Leon A is more straightforward when you come to this part of the game.
Oh, wait. Look at this as something. Master key is required to open the emergency route. Okay. So yeah, you use the master key to open up that door, and then you use the master key on the emergency elevator. So then Ada dies, you come here, bring this down, and then you have your final confrontation, I think.
Yep.
I think that's how it works. And then master key is discarded, so you can have room for a plug.
You murdered my
Yeah,
husband.
yeah, I think that's how he gets to the
I
train.
know what you're looking for. You came for the G-Virus, didn't you? Never take it from me. This is my husband's legacy. Now, where's that spy you were working with earlier? You know who I'm talking about.
What?
You really don't know anything, do you? You're so gullible. She's one of the operatives sent here by the agency. The only reason why she came here is to obtain the G-Virus.
That's a lie.
No, it's the truth. I discovered this when I did a background check on her. She specifically got close to John and became his girlfriend to get information about Umbrella.
That can't be. I know her. Ada wouldn't do something like that.
If you don't want to believe it, I don't really care. You're about to die anyway.
It might be for mod only, sorry.
No, Nightbot's not even here.
Oh. Slacking on the job. Yeah, once again, Mr. X being a super chump. He just doesn't get it. By the way, shot 4 bullets, got 8. God, just like I said, he just doesn't stand a chance. Like,
I actually don't even think it's the same Mr. X every time.
he just tries. Little Gipper tries so hard.
And the reason why I say that is because there's that cutscene where he's getting dropped off by a helicopter from
Yeah,
the
and there's
container.
6 more tanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of the idea, but... Alright, you know what? I don't need any of these now. Machine gun or that. I don't know where this small key is used.
I don't remember. Actually, let me look it up for you.
Third
Now you
small
got me
key.
curious. Yeah, third small key.
Alright, so I have a first aid spray. I have tons and tons of ammo. I guess I can... Actually, I'm not gonna save. Because it's annoying to come back here. So, we're just gonna grab this herb for safety, I guess. We have a first aid spray and an herb and tons of ammo. Okay, so in this power room key, I'm expecting either an MO disc or a master key or both. Dude, Mr. X, are you quite done?
Run!
Oh, interesting. There's actually 4 small keys.
Ada being the boss here, shooting Mr. X in the face a bunch.
B.
Leon, please, escape.
No. We're a team. I can't just leave you behind.
Okay, well, where's the small keys for?
Just a woman.
Yeah, Leon B has 3 keys. For whatever reason.
Super internal hemorrhaging, better kiss her. Just vomiting blood all over.
Okay, apparently the 3 items you get is handgun parts, first aid spray, handgun rounds. So I don't think you particularly care for the handgun rounds.
Yeah.
The self-destruct sequence has been activated. This sequence
Yeah.
may not
Yeah,
be
that's according to
aborted.
the Wikipedia.
All employees proceed to the emergency car at the bottom platform.
I will always remember you. Goodbye.
So, by the way, you're pretty soon about to catch an inconsistency in the story that I pointed out before. So pretty soon Claire is going to be like, hey, meet us at the train. Or grab Sherry and meet me at the train. But what actually happens in that cutscene when you're looking at her is you have your bandage on because you've been shot. However, in the Claire scenario, when she's looking at the monitor, Leon just looks fine. He doesn't have any bandage or anything, so I don't know if it was meant to stop you from foreshadowing it, like they didn't want to spoil that he gets shot, or if it was just an inconsistency or an inaccuracy. But
I think it was an inconsistency of it.
I think so as well. I think they just didn't want to have a second Leon texture in the Claire scenario. Would take up extra
Right.
space. The claw.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, there's a lot of games like that.
Leon, you made it.
Claire, is that you? Where are you?
I can see you on the monitor, but never mind that right now. Leon, you have to go back and get Sherry.
You unlocked Mr. X's true form.
Please, you must save her.
Wait a second. What are you gonna do? Where are you going?
I still have a few loose ends to take care of. I'm counting on you.
So I keep
Hello?
revising this, but I
Claire,
think
are
this
you
might
there?
actually be my second favorite
Claire!
boss-looking enemy besides Nemesis,
Security office?
is the Mr. XG virus. I don't know, what's your take on, what are some of your favorite boss designs, like visually?
Ooh, visually? Does it have to be the main story boss, or can it be any boss in the game, in the series?
I guess any of them, right?
Okay, and you're talking classic Resident Evil, right?
Well, what, are you gonna pick? What are you gonna pick? I mean,
Well, okay.
are you gonna pick fucking Midget Napoleon from 4?
Yeah, there you go. Why not? No. Okay, so... Okay, alright then. I'll split it in 2 categories. For classic, well, obviously Nemesis is one. Just his first form, meaning like the first form.
Trench
he
coat.
throughout. Yeah, trench coat.
Tentacle.
And everything,
Yeah.
yeah, that one. For RE2, I would say it's this one where it's definitely Mr. X
G-Virus,
characters.
Mr. X?
Yeah. Yep. I would
Yeah,
say
it's-
definitely that one.
It's really cool. I really like Birkin's forms, like his 3rd and 4th form,
Yeah,
but that's tough competition.
it is. It really is.
I also really like Tyrant 1, but I don't know. Like, they're all very good. That's, I guess, that is some takeaway from it, that, like, none of the bosses look terrible. Except for Birkin Final Form, that just looks, I mean, it's just putty with the mouth.
It is, yeah.
And some amiibo, some amoeba
yeah.
tentacles. Oh.
And then for RE1, I would say, yeah, probably most people would say the Tyrant. For RE1, I would say the Snake. I like the Snake more. Just because it had more animation to it. Mainly for that reason. And it's like a huge damn snake, like, wow.
Which was the better boss, huge spider or huge snake? I mean, you could avoid both of them, basically, so...
Right. Yeah, the snake.
They really went all in on that trench coat look, though, when you think about it.
Yeah.
Because, like, they had Mr. X, they had Nemesis, they had later the Gigante guy.
Yeah. Yeah, but I still think Nemesis did it best.
I'm sure there's other ones that I'm missing, but...
I don't think they had a trench coat guy in 5. I think 4 was literally...
Well, they had Wesker.
Oh, yeah.
He's a trench coat guy, right?
Yeah, but you only fight him in Lost of Nightmares.
Okay, so something odd. I didn't get an MO disc, so I guess that means that's just for the A scenario.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Because we're in the elevator and we're about to go down, so...
What really sucks is that, in a weird way, RE2 was the introduction to, like, escort missions with Claire. Where she has to, you know, drag Sherry around. And then they kind of did away with the escort part in 3, and then they really wrapped it up in 4. But why couldn't they not get the co-op AI to work correctly in 5 like it does in 2 with Ada? Like, it's beyond me.
Yeah, they did an okay job, I thought. It definitely had problems, but, you know.
Well then...
I mean, you compare it to how badly it could have turned out. Let's put it that way.
Just
Compare that.
Claire should be
It turned out pretty bad. You never got her stuck?
At the very worst, you could always put them to just cover. And, when you did that, they would get you out of, you know, trouble. And they wouldn't have to worry about taking your ammo and stuff.
Right.
I'll be back in just a moment. I just gotta go to the restroom and we'll finish up this game. Alright.
Alrighty.
Let's go ahead and finish this up.
So here's food for thought. I just got to thinking about it for RE2 for the remake.
Sure.
Okay, so let's say they keep their regular A and B scenario, and they decide to add a co-op scenario where you can play either co-op online or local, and like there can actually be a second player that actually controls Claire.
For Remake 2, you're saying?
Yeah.
I think if they did that format, they would have to do something like Revelations 2, which I thought a lot of people give Revelations, like, guff. I think they did a great job on particularly 2. And the reason why I say that is the major problem with 5 that I was seeing was the characters, they're the same character.
Right.
Like, Shiva and Chris, it doesn't matter who you're playing, it's the same character. They just have a different inventory. And that sucks, because they don't have anything that really sets them apart. There's no critical way to deal with something other than you have to both stay alive. And I really think that's detrimental. What they really needed, I felt, was something like Revelations 2, where one person is definitely in the lead, right? Like, it's Barry, or it's Claire, or whoever else is in the game. Those are the two sections that I kind of saw the most of.
Okay.
If the minute that you sit there and you go, like... The minute you sit there and you move away from that, and you have, like, two of the same character that both have the same amount of agency. Like, they're both the main character. It's like, what if I don't want to go where they go? Like, there has to be somebody that leads and somebody that follows, for lack of a better term. The other thing is having one character who fights, mainly, or who's the primary fighter, not necessarily who only fights, because each character could do something in combat. That was good too, because then you weren't sitting there fighting over ammo. So it became a cooperative experience. And having the second person that isn't the primary combatant have support abilities completely changes the dynamic of the cooperative effort. You know, all of a sudden, even though you aren't shooting a gun, you feel impactful because you're either finding ammo for somebody, you're blinding them for the person and increasing their damage, or reducing the damage you both take. You can even support with melee, and by the way, the crowbar support melee is supposedly really powerful. For Barry's daughter.
Right.
So, you have these characters that are clearly different from one another. One person's the shooter, the other person's the support.
5 minutes until detonation.
But they each feel like they impact the game. And that's what you really need in a cooperative experience. You can't have people feeling the same, or else it's just like, why am I... First you fight over resources, but in addition to fighting over resources, again, it's just all about feeling like you have something to contribute that the other person doesn't. Because then you are actually working as a team.
Right.
Also, kind of weird. Thought that the cords were supposed to be on the other side, but I guess not. So that was really long-winded, but basic concept: make your characters feel different, but make them feel impactful, even if they are different. Because it's easy to be like, my character's a special little butterfly, but does it actually do anything effectively?
Right.
Okay. So I need the high-capacity generators, but I didn't see them, and I thought they were supposed to be at the end. I guess they're at the end of the other one.
Well, no, what I was thinking for, like, a co-op scenario, it's like, it's still, it'll still feel like a one-player scenario, right? But I think for the co-op part, I think for RE2 in particular, I think it would be more or less like, okay, like, you know how A and B scenarios change based on, you know, which scenario you play first?
Yeah.
I guess you could look at the A and B scenarios in the sense of, oh, well, who gets to where first? Who gets there first type of scenario, right? In a weird way. Because the scenario changes based on the arrival time, so...
I was thinking just have it so that your support characters, Sherry and Ada, just have different abilities, like in Revelations. And that could work out just fine as well. You obviously have to split Ada off so she could do her own thing, but, you know.
Right.
You're beyond that, kinda.
Yeah, no, I was having, because, like, since Jill and, Leon, meet a lot. Jill and Leon, sorry. Claire and Leon meet a lot. You would think there, maybe they would add a point where, like, okay, like, you can, like, I guess exchange ammo type of deal. Like, depending on how you want to play it, since there is the part where you do hit the downstairs of the RP, and there's the machine gun and the extra pack, right?
Yeah.
And all that ammo. So like instead of like here, instead of Chris fighting, you know, the tyrant here, it could be Claire instead. Like, you know, like just based on which path the two people take. You know, like, because obviously you won't be taking the same path regardless of who you play.
Game over.
Like it would almost be like a weird junction system. They would change just based on which way you go, type of deal, I suppose. Now that's a real rocket launcher. But what I always found funny about the cutscene is that, oh, okay, yeah, you showed him at point blank range, but when the cutscene triggers, he's suddenly like so many feet away. And I think you muted yourself, Turbo.
Oh, yeah. So, I think it's important that, like, I think it's an interesting thought that you had there, as far as, like, what if you had kind of, you working together and whoever got to some place first would trigger things for another person. Because they did do that in Resident Evil 5, kind of as a side thing.
Yeah,
like,
kind of.
You would kind of help each other out to do, and you'd be like, hey, split off here, you do something else. And then we'll meet back up later.
Right.
But, I don't know, I think it's slightly different when you're talking about Resident Evil 2. And the reason for that is because they have so much that they do on their own, and they're across the police station so often from one another, that I don't think it would turn out to be like a cooperative experience as much as it is just like basically playing the game on split screen, but still having mainly a one-player mode. That's why I was thinking of the idea of maybe having like your support characters traditionally doing something. Because it feels like that would give you the opportunity to work together as a team.
Oh, so then it would be almost like an RE5 in the sense that you play certain missions, and if someone joins you on that mission, then they would play that support character.
I was thinking more like Revelations, but yeah. Like, again, so once again, the characters feel different from one another. Like, that's something that I keep driving, but yeah, it's so crucial to feel like you're doing something different from other people.
Yeah, but then it would raise the question, what would Sherry do that would be different?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, they easily made the little girl have the flashlight in Barry's scenario, and she was able to do things with that, right? So, like,
I vaguely remember it.
Basically just apply something that a little girl could do. And it doesn't necessarily have to be directly combat related.
I'll be right back, Claire. Go get you more ammo.
I mean, that could be it. What if she can set up traps? Because, like, there's machinery or whatever, and she's the only person that can get to the control panels.
Yeah, probably be something like that.
And I mean, that's like a really simplistic thing, but it could be any number of things that are similar to that, you know?
Yeah, it could be.
By the way, I spent a lot of time on here.
In co-op scenario, you're actually the train operator. Yeah.
I love how in this, Leon's like, when she gets injected with the vaccine, he's like, it worked! It's like, dude,
yeah.
you just asked. You didn't know who it was or what it even did. But he's so ecstatic about it.
Not now. Come on, Cherry, wake up. Wake up. Please wake up. Claire? Where am I?
It worked!
Oh, Sherry. You're gonna be okay.
I can't remember. Do you actually have the train boss fight in this scenario? Or...
Yes, it is always scenario B.
It's over.
No. I have to find my brother.
You're right. This is just the beginning.
What I hope they do in the future of the Resident Evil series is that I hope they bring back like Sherry as she's older, because as you can see in Revelations and Resident Evil 6, Claire's like much older looking.
Oh, they did bring her back. She was in one of those games. She was like a young adult. I didn't know much beyond that, but I know she is reintroduced in the games.
Yeah, because Claire...
She has like superpowers. She has like super healing or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Warning.
Yeah, because she was infected with the G virus, it just didn't mutate fully. Yeah. So it mutated her DNA, it just didn't completely get her, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, like another Parasite Eve.
There was actually another character that was like that. I think it's Alex Wesker or something. But yeah, there's another character that she's actually involved with in some way, and they do a scenario together. And same idea for that character.
But
Here comes the Thing!
Yeah, the Thing.
This is a great music track, by the way. It's a shame you don't get to listen to it that long.
I hope in the remake they actually show him bending the metal and...
Yeah, just kind of presented a little bit better here.
Yeah.
And we're done. That is Resident Evil 2, folks.
Yep.
Still with far too much ammo. Because Leon's a boss. Oh wait, do I have to turn around and run away first? Yeah, I bet that smells just great.
But yeah, honestly though, I think overall though, for them to keep up with the Resident Evil series, I think they're going to have to reintroduce some characters that you've seen like in past Resident Evils.
Like I said, they've been doing that throughout it. The question is how deep can they go before... I mean, it's already started to get into some silly shit. The question is what direction is Resident Evil going to take? Is it going to have to return to survival horror? Is it going to continue on with action? Is it gonna just keep getting more and more ridiculous? Honestly, you gotta come to the point, like, when is too much too much? Should they just let Resident Evil die? Or end the story? Who knows?
Yeah, ending the story would be...
You know, why not end the story, and then, you know, take all these supposedly great artistic ideas and apply them to a different series? Yeah? You can always build new characters.
Oh yeah, easy.
Come and get me, I'm right here.
I think where they messed up on in the sense of long term is when they nuked Raccoon City.
Which one's the right switch? Maybe this one?
Sherry!
Leon! Ah!
You know, because they could have turned technically the movie into a video game. Like, instead of it being a movie, it could have been a game where you actually infiltrate Umbrella's secret lab and do all that crazy nonsense.
But you did that. That was Survivor.
Are you alright?
I'm okay.
Where's Claire? Claire? Claire!
Right here.
Claire!
I guess we all made it.
Yeah, in a weird sense, yeah. But we gotta remember too, though, they had many labs, so it's...
Yeah, I was joking.
Yeah, one of many. Because nowhere in the games does it hint, oh, there's this like in the first 3, oh, there's an underground lab. What the, you know, it's just the city being blown up. Because of
I
the
love how
sun.
they completely retcon this story, by the way.
So,
They're just like,
it's
an explosion
finally
happened
over.
under the city.
Yeah.
Sherry,
But
you look
at the end of
terrible.
Resident Evil 3,
No
holy
worse
shit.
than you, Claire.
Just nuclear weapons.
Come on.
Yep.
Time to leave.
Now?
DEFCON 5.
What's wrong? Is something following us?
We have to go. We don't have any time to waste.
Go? Where?
Hey, it's up to us to take out Umbrella.
Yo, that guitar, though.
What I'll never figure out is how does Claire's jacket shrink down to fit a kid perfectly?
No, shut up, though.
Oh man. What is that?
I mean, if you're gonna say that, then how does it fit Claire? Because it's originally Chris's, right? I think is the lore behind it.
I think so. Yeah, but you gotta remember, it's supposed to be before Chris became the Hulk.
No, that time didn't exist. At least that's what Capcom wants you to believe.
Yeah. Yeah, because in 1 he's all
Shot
buffed up.
steroids right in his butt. Just right in an infected wound from from all the steroids.
Wow.
So I'm gonna go out and say it. 5 out of 5 game. I mean, it held up exactly the way I remember it, in every capacity. And it played really well. Only a couple times where it caused frustration, and that was very mild. Yeah, just everything flowed really well with it. Compare that to like Resident Evil 1, where there were a couple pieces of frustration, especially concerning hunters. There was... The graphics haven't aged quite as well, just because the character models were very rugged, kind of muddy. Comparing it to Resident Evil 3, that game's just quite a bit more hard, and the RNG can make it really devastating for casual players. You know, getting 3 rooms straight of hunters is kind of horseshit. But yeah, this game just brings together the whole package. It doesn't have the atmosphere of a Silent Hill. Like,
No,
I will never make that type of assessment. And it doesn't have as strong an atmosphere of the first Resident Evil game. But it doesn't need it. It plays just so much better, and it looks so much better than Silent Hill did, because it went with the pre-rendered backgrounds instead of a polygonal backgrounds on everything.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, Resident Evil 2, complete package, 5 out of 5. 4 out of 5 on Resident Evil 1, 4 out of 5 on Resident Evil 3, 4 out of 5 Silent Hill 1.
Wow.
So, I mean, believe me, like, I love Silent Hill 1, and I love those other games, but as far as coming together as a total package, this game just nails it. So, Beyond Leon also, which is pretty nice. And I think that's just because I used 1 first aid spray, maybe 2. So,
Yeah, not bad. 3 hours.
worked out.
Even though stream time says 4 hours.
Commentary and stuff, getting set up.
Yeah. Like, wow, that's crazy.
And play another scenario, make a new save data. What is this other scenario? Because I didn't unlock Hunk, because that's A, I think, right? A on both scenarios?
Yeah.
Arrange EX battle 1? Oh.
Yeah, I think the range EX is supposed to be,
Star members Brad has become the living dead. He's roaming around somewhere in the police station possessing a special key. Find him and help him rest in peace. Reach the police station without getting any items. Oh wow, they just tell you what to do in this version of the game. That's interesting.
That's crazy. That's crazy. They actually tell you after you've done all that. That's crazy.
So I guess before I kind of finish this up, I'm gonna see what that extra mode was.
That's also crazy too. I didn't know the GameCube version would show you the cutscenes in the credits.
Extreme Battle. Is this? This has got to be new for GameCube, right? So yeah, this has got to be GameCube exclusive. Maybe PC
no.
also?
No, PC has it.
What is this?
PC has it. I don't remember. I think it's all a time based thing. It's actually on the leaderboards. PC, but yeah, PC version has this. I just don't remember exactly what it is. Though.
And then I have the shadowy figures in the background. Looks like Hunk and
yeah, one's Hunk
Tofu.
and one's
Ada.
One's Ada, and I think
Actually, that can't be Hunk because it looks like he has a shotgun. Wait, is it supposed to be Jill and Chris?
I don't remember. I can actually look it up. But...
Interesting. Yeah, give that a real quick checkup, real quick.
Let's see. Yeah, the Extreme Battle was, it's a mini game that was introduced in the DualShock edition of RE2, and later implanted in the Dreamcast, PC, and GameCube ports. Okay, it takes the player surviving a long gauntlet of enemies while using a limited supply of ammunition and health. It's probably similar to Mercenaries. That's what it sounds like to me.
It seems like it. I mean, we'll take a very, very brief look at this, but I'm not gonna go through it.
Yeah.
So.
Your characters are Leon, Claire, Ada, and Chris.
So it said I was supposed to go back to the precinct. Interesting. And apparently I can save this mode.
Yeah, Chris is the one with the shotgun.
Huh. Leon has it as well. But yeah, okay, so it would be Chris and Jill would be the other ones. So let's take a look. So it said go back to the precinct, get the 4 bombs, and then return to the train.
Yeah, you really have to know the game inside out.
Yeah, it would appear so.
The bombs, if I recall correctly, are pretty easy to find. Then you can improve upon that time.
I always thought that Hunk mode and Tofu mode were pretty interesting special games. By the way, Hunk just super boss, supervisor. Oh, wow. Hello, dogs.
Oh my god. So here's a funny note. In the PlayStation version for Extreme Battle, herbs were misspelled. They were called harbs. And this was what was fixed in
Gotta get those harbs, man. Just all blue. Wow, nice. Just a couple of blue herbs for some reason. Stage clear. What? Okay.
Guess that's the train.
I guess that's the thing. I guess it's the gimmick, is it's split up more like stages, like RE4. It's interesting. I don't know if I like it, but I suppose it'd be something to investigate at a later time.
Yeah,
It's definitely odd. Intriguing.
Well, I think it makes for a good speedrunning thing. Like if you're looking to just do something real short.
Well, we also got some handgun bullets here, so... Interesting. Alright, well, that was Resident Evil 2. I'd like to thank all of my guests, including Comrade Control and Houseless Gamer, for joining me, at least for Leon B scenario. But, yeah, we'll see if we can get maybe one more game in before the end of this. Just to remind everybody also, I will be doing my extra live stream starting at 10 a.m. Tomorrow and Sunday. I'll probably do 2 12-hour streams just to make it easier on myself. I am starting to get sick as well.
Oh, man.
Format's going to be a little bit different as well. Before, it was bidding on incentives. This one, going to do something a little different. I don't know if it's going to work out, but it's basically going to be make a donation amount, and if yours is over a certain amount, then I will do one of the speedruns that I am able to do. So there's some pretty costly ones up there, but it's based on the amount of time I think it'll take to complete a run, so I think it's fair enough. If you're interested in that, I will be posting that after the stream, but for now, take it easy, enjoy the rest of your day. I'll be also posting that on Twitter. See you guys later.